Hi, everybody. So great advice for me last week about poor little Megan and what should she do. Those were things that I really went through. I really went through a lot of anxiety, and I knew that I was really. I don't want to. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. I knew that I was smart, and I knew I was able to do things, but I also felt like that anxiety definitely got in the way. So what ended up happening is that I did not go to talk to my teachers again after I had talked to my English teacher. She really discouraged me, and I didn't want to have that same experience with my math teacher. So what I did instead, I went to the school counselor, and she basically was like, it sounds like you're really depressed, and it sounds like you're really anxious, and maybe it would be better for you to be at home right now. And then I talked to my parents, and that was a really hard conversation to have. And I decided to come home. And instead of just dropping out completely, the counselor did give me some advice, which was good, about taking what's called an incomplete. That's something we have at this school as well. It's not used very often, but if you're kind of in an emergency situation where you can finish your courses, you take an incomplete. It's like a temporary grade, but I'll give you guys information about what that is if you ever happen to need it. So I took the incompletes. I ended up getting some tutoring at home, and I finished the class, the math class in particular. I didn't need tutoring for the other ones, but I finished my classes at home. And then I ended up going to a community college for a semester. I lived outside of Niagara Falls, so I went to Niagara County Community College, NCCC. When I was there, they actually had the support resources that I wished that I had had at the four-year school that I started at. So I talked to some people in the career services office. I talked to some people who were like success coaches. They had kind of a different name, but that's basically what they were. I talked to an advisor, and they gave me a lot of advice. I kept going to counseling, which also helped with the anxiety, because for me that was like really overwhelming. So yeah, they gave me a lot of advice about what classes to do and what to take, and they helped me connect with different college fairs that were going on where I could go to a better school that would be a better fit for me. And then I ended up going to a school even further away from home, but by that point I felt like I had the tools, and that school was wonderful. The teachers there were a lot nicer and better connected, and I had a lot more resources there. And I didn't go for English. I went for something else related to education, and then I ended up going back for English for graduate school, which is kind of reconnected with what I actually loved. So for me, it did sort of work out, but I know a lot of other students where they've had that kind of an experience, and it just totally takes away their motivation, and they don't really know what to do or where to go. And I don't think that I think that if I hadn't gone to that community college, I really would have been quite lost, and I would never have found the school that I ended up going to in Illinois. So yeah, so I guess my advice, if you haven't figured it out already, is at this school we do have those resources. So if you are anxious, the counseling centers there where you can do check-ins, they can get you connected to more support if you need it, just kind of like what I did, right? But staying in school, getting connected to the Success Center, getting connected to ADA if you need accommodations for things. I actually think I probably could have qualified for some accommodations for math in terms of the anxiety, like extra test time or a distraction-free environment. Had I known that that was available, had I actually talked to the math professor, I think that I would have probably gotten those and gotten more help, and I might have been able to stay there. But there's all those resources that we've been talking about the whole semester. So I hope that by giving me advice and by giving Tina advice, who you'll hear from in a minute, I hope that you can kind of discover what to better do when you get in those situations. And I hope that you can learn from my story. Thanks, everybody.